Hyperdrive Hockey is brought to you by the Game Over Network. Make sure to follow us on YouTube at Game Over Network and catch Hyperdrive Hockey in audio format on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other good streaming platform. Hello, beautiful citizen of planet hockey. Welcome to another episode of Hyperdrive Hockey. My name is Maxime Vanut. We are, of course, on the Game Over Network. Game Over is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure to follow us at Game Over Network on YouTube and follow Game Over in your local market. And give us a like, give us a subscription, anything you want, a review on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, anywhere you catch your audio content. Along with me, of course, today, Matvei Michkov. Daph, how are you doing?
Oh, Max, I'm doing so much better than I was on Wednesday morning, I would say. And we're not going to talk about politics, but man, we live in a weird world. I know it was democratic. I know people voted for Donald Trump, but man, I cannot wrap my head around.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. But you know what? Let's stay hydrated. Let's try and bring positivity to the world. Let's try to bring love and not divide and conquer. I am 100% with you on this. And we are, of course, joined by the man himself, the one and only behind the board, Kevin Laramie. Kevin, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm going to bring it back to hockey so that we don't think about it too much. Tonight, the Hall of Fame game in Toronto, Detroit Maple Leaf will see Chrissy Wandel, Natalie Darwitz, along with Colin Campbell, Jeremy Roenick, David Poile, and Pavel Datsyuk go to the immortal place, the Hall of Halls, the Hall of Fame of hockey.
Oh, yeah. And you know what is happening at the same time? A very rare occasion for your boy here who will be watching sports on a Friday night. Now, of course, it's our job. It is our job, but I must confess, usually Friday night is my little treat night. It's me time. It's me time. It's for you can't. I mean, maybe you do, and it's fine. But I need, because it's our job. I need at least one night off a week, and usually it's Friday night. And I was wondering, what am I going to do tonight? Because my girlfriend will be out with her friends, and so I was like, how am I treating my? And I didn't want to go out. I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay home. I was wondering what movie was I going to watch, what series was I going to start, and then it occurred to me, we are getting yet another episode of Ovi versus Sid, and it's one of those that I am the most excited for in the past few years. Ovi's back in full force. Sid is doing very well, even though the Pens are not doing very well. It is a very exciting time for both these guys right now, and I will be watching it live. I'm definitely watching live tonight.
Because it's not going to last forever.
No, it feels like it's been lasting in forever, and I want it to last forever. I don't want it to end.
I know, me too.
It is the 70th time those two faces each other in the regular season and the playoff combined.
Crazy.
The 70th time we see Ovi versus Crosby.
You know, Ovi's been going gray for quite a while now, so I've gotten used to it. I have not gotten used to Sid with a bit of gray in his hair yet. So that feels kind of weird. And I can't help but think, with the Washington Capitals doing fine right now, could you just imagine if Sidney Crosby would go join Ovi on the Caps? How crazy that would be.
No. That can't happen. It's like a Montreal Canadian players joining the Nordiques. It's like a players from the Yankees joining the Red Sox.
It's like, not, though. That would be joining the Flyers.
It's like Real Madrid joining Barcelona. Doesn't happen.
It's not. It's a momentary rivalry that has been occurring for 20 years now because those two are eternal. But it's not. I understand what you mean, though. I mean, it won't happen. If Sid had to move, he would not go to Washington. Or would he? I left this in suspense for now.
No. Could we get those two in the same I don't know. Like, would it get fiery at a certain point? I don't feel like Ovi is the kind of the same guy as Malkin is.
Well, yeah. No, but it would be different. But it would work. It has to just be. You know what? I'm going back to this. I'm sorry. I have the same freaking argument. We deserve it. Won't happen though. Will never happen, and it's okay like this. I enjoy some good old school rivalry. Not joining force NBA style. That is for me. We have a whole lot to talk about today. We're switching things up a bit. We're bringing in some new segment to the show. Of course, we are a very young show. It's our first anniversary in a way because it's our 10th episode already. Happy birthday to us. We are bringing in a guest for the very first time later on in the show. Stay on for I'm Not Even Sorry. So we will be bringing every Friday people from all over Canada, from Game Over across Canada, across our network, and we will debate. Every person coming in is coming in with an opening statement. We'll debate it, and the other person will try to drag those statements down, lift them up. We will see. It's all in good fun. And we will, of course, go in our DMs as we do every Friday to close the show. You can send us an email at hyperdrivehockey@gmail.com to join the show. But before that, it was some exciting content coming out of the PWHL yesterday when the teams finally announced the jerseys. And Daph, you know how much I love sports fashion.
I was looking for your.
I was so pleasantly surprised. Extremely pleasantly surprised because last year I was very underwhelmed. No names, not just no names, boring jerseys. Not even quality jerseys before Bauer finally got the sponsorship and made something out of these. The names, I was a bit underwhelmed by most of the names. The logos, though, there was some good, there was some bad. The jerseys, though, because I was so disappointed by pretty much everything branding-wise, the PWHL is a huge success. I'm very happy. I went to 2 games in Montreal last year. I went to the playoffs. I love every second of it. But from a branding perspective, I have been a bit underwhelmed. Bauer did a tremendous job. We will talk about those jerseys. We will rank them. But overall, I am very overwhelmed by the quality of the jerseys. Overall, what do you think of them?
Oh, Max, I think it's, I was looking for your fashionista input on that one because, as you said, like people were not appreciating the names. I wasn't a big fan at all of the names too. I was really criticized about it. The logos, as you said, some of them
Some bad, some good.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering where we were heading with that one. And I feel like, I have to say something. The marketing in the PWHL is really good. Like they're getting people hyped.
Yeah,
and I was wondering if the hype was worth what we could expect it from those jersey. And man, oh man, I love those. I feel like I'm gonna get a couple of them. Like and
really?
There's a new fashion style when you can wear like a top of it's usually like a soccer jersey with some baggy pants and some Adidas, Gazelle or Samba.
Are you a Gen Z and I don't know?
No, but I'm trying to, keep up my fashion with it.
Yes, you do. That's beautiful.
And I was like,
someone who can pull off a hockey jersey, it can be pulled off. It's a good fashion statement.
I need to because those jerseys are worth being fashion, like in being complete with a
being
nice
one as a streetwear.
Absolutely. And I'm very curious to see your ranking. And I think we're going to disagree a lot.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Well, we will probably disagree. Although, so it's interesting because now that you're mentioning streetwear, I would have a different ranking from a streetwear perspective than an on-ice perspective for many reasons that I will explain in this ranking. And you know what? I did my ranking, I think, 5 times yesterday. So we will disagree, but I'm not going to, we're not going to take our knives out or anything. We will never, anyway, take out the knives. But you know what? Ladies first, who do you have in 6th position?
Okay, for me, the Ottawa Charge is my least favorite. And it's just maybe because first of all, I'm really not a big fan of the logo, which is what is predominant on this jersey. Yeah. The gray area, the light gray area around the neck. I'm sorry, but no one looks alive when you have this light gray area around your face. No one, not even me after a summertime of plenty of sun in my face and I'm really tanned. This is no good. And I feel like I really don't like the little dot. There's like kind of like a basketball jersey behind like the arms that are making me cringy, and it looks like it's made for my my education physique lesson classes in high school.
Your gym classes.
My gym class. Yeah. Sorry
Hopefully
about
you're
that.
a gym class hero. It's interesting because you're severe on the Ottawa jersey, which is fine. I completely agree on the logo. I think it's one of the worst logo in sports right now. I'm so sorry to anybody who worked on this, but it's not up to a professional team standard.
No.
I would think it would be a bad logo if it was my high school team's logo, to give you an idea. So but you know what? I don't have Ottawa in last place. And I don't have Ottawa in last place because there was a bit of a pleasant surprise for me because the logo is so bad that I didn't thought the jerseys were so bad. I was like, oh, okay, it's a decent jersey. Like slap a cool logo on it. It's a decent jersey.
It looks cheap. I don't agree.
I can understand what you mean. But here's the thing. I would have Ottawa last in a streetwear perspective, like I said. But on ice perspective, I'm going with the Minnesota Frost. And here's why. Oh, wow. I can see you completely disagree with that one. I'm going with the Minnesota Frost because there are three actually. So I do not mind. I was talking with Andrew Berkshire on Game Over Montreal on Thursday night, and he didn't like the fact that Bauer and the PWHL went with some marketing elements that are present in every jerseys. So obviously, every team has some details in the numbers. I think that is freaking amazing. Yeah. I think that it will influence other teams, and we will start seeing this more. So that I think is positive. I think every team having a shoulder yoke is negative, though. So you can see every single jersey has that Montreal Canadian on the white jersey type shoulder yoke. And I think that on the purple jersey of the Minnesota Frost, it looks horrible. So that's one reason. Reason number two is that logo is bad too. Not as bad as Ottawa, but on the jersey, it looks worse because the angle of it leaves a big portion of the jersey empty on the belly. I do not like that. But to me, I would wear it as a streetwear jersey, but not on the ice, is Bauer, CC, equipment gear, gear companies. This is 2024. There is absolutely no black on the jersey. You know what? You should have went all in. San Jose Shark style, Buffalo Sabre style, Calgary Flame style, all purple. Purple pants. You can do amazing things with hockey gloves nowadays. I think the Team USA jerseys for the Four Nation face-off are not really good, but what they did with the gloves, all blue with alternating blue and white fingers, they should have pulled something off amazing on the gloves. Purple gloves with a lighter purple fingers, a light purple cuff, maybe just the brand in white. They could really have pulled something off. Purple helmet, that would have popped off. That would have looked completely amazing. I'm not buying that it's easier to go all black. And you know what? You can do custom gear for high school nowadays. Where I'm from, the high school teams, they are like a burgundy and yellow. And you know what? Every freaking kid has a yellow helmet, burgundy gloves and all that. They should have pulled this off, and this is the reason they are in last place for me. And Ottawa, I agree with you on everything. They're in fifth place.
But I agree that the logo should be lower on the Minnesota Frost. Yeah. Okay, I really don't agree because maybe it's more of the street style perspective, but for me, I think the colors are just like so well matched. And I had a really difficult time to place them in the third place. I would have maybe put them like in the second place, but I have them in third. Yeah.
Okay, so but who you have in fifth?
So in fifth for me, and you're so not gonna agree with me on this one.
Don't put
the Toronto.
In fifth,
Toronto Septas.
Toronto. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Why? I actually love those jerseys.
It's the yellow for me. And I know
the yellow pops up so well.
but I'm not a yellow kind of girl, so
Okay.
maybe it's that. And
Okay.
I the color, the
Yeah.
so the yellow color,
Yeah.
I would maybe have put white. Like just the little line around the neck. Would have put some white in there, but these are
Okay.
not their colors, so maybe white wasn't part of their colors. But I don't know. I don't like the for me the lighter blue also is not no.
Oh my God.
It's
I love
not
that
it
light
for
blue.
me.
It's so beautiful. I love the combination of navy and light blue. I pretty much love everything about that jersey. I'm not going to spoil where I have them, but I actually really love those jersey.
Who do
In
you have it? So who do you have
in fifth, I have
so
Ottawa.
in Ottawa? Okay.
Fifth Ottawa. In four, to me this is the big disappointment. It's the Boston Fleet. I know a lot of people love him, and the Fleet have my second favorite logo, so I had very high expectation. But number one, same thing. They went with navy pants and gloves. There's navy in the logo. There's absolutely no navy on the jersey whatsoever. So I really, really don't like it, especially with the white jersey. The pants and the gloves should have been green on those white jerseys to stand out, to look better. Um, I like what they did with the stripes starting thick and getting thinner and thinner because it kind of give a ripple effect of water, which is really cool. It's all well thought out. It's just the execution. I do not like the the white. Well, it's not white technically. It's some kind of teal, light blue, whatever shoulder yoke on the green jersey. So it's just a bit of disappointment. The stripes too, I think, should have been like tighter together at the lower end of the jersey. So starting there though, every single 4-1, I love all those jerseys. I think they're very good jerseys. But Boston, I am a bit disappointed. I enjoyed that they tried. I enjoyed the brand identity is really strong. The execution is just a bit off the mark for me.
Mm. Okay, I really like the Boston Fleet
Really?
jersey. I'm not gonna tell you where I put it. I'm gonna tell you later. For me, the fourth one was New York.
New York Sirens.
Yeah, the New York Sirens. I'm not really sure about what they wanted to do with just their name and the logo,
Yeah.
first of all. But I really love the way that the stripes are pull off in the arms, like angle side, like on the side. So like kind of angular, which really blends well with the logo.
Mhm.
So for me, it's surprising that I really like the jersey. So for
Yeah.
me, it's the fourth position there.
Okay. And in third position, you had Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I had Minnesota.
Okay. So
So it leads you where I have the Boston Fleet.
yeah, well, not yet, because hope. Well, I mean, let's get there in a second. I have the Sirens too. I have them in number 3. To me, the New York Sirens is actually the opposite of the Boston Fleet, whereas I did not particularly like their logo. And then I saw the jersey and I was like, oh, cool. I see where you went with that. It's a big 90s vibe. I kind of feel like it's the love child of the original Florida Panthers jersey and the Fisherman Islanders jersey. Poof, mix them together. Obviously, I'm a 90s kid. Some people probably hate that vibe. I love it. The white jersey to me is especially appealing. The dark one a little less because they went with gray instead of white as a color accent. I just would have went with white, but I just love what they did as kind of what personally I see as a jersey that could have come out of the 90s. I think it's really well executed. I think suddenly the logo takes all its sense. I love how big it is, even though it's not my favorite logo. To me, the look just works well. They went with an identity that feels cohesive, and for that, I have New York at number 3. So is Boston Fleet number 2 or number 1, Daph?
The Boston Fleet is number 2. I'm
right.
a big fan of the navy outfit with the green, the forest green forest, whatever.
Really?
Oh, I'm such a big fan. And as you said, I really like the way that the stripes are coming off. I am eager to see what it's going to do when they, like they skate on the ice with it. I think it's going to be really interesting. But for me, it's a big yes. I really like the matching of the colors.
Yeah.
I feel like the navy blue is perfect. The
Really?
lighter teal colors,
Oh, the
I
light teal is
really
awesome.
love it. I
I love
really
the light
love it,
teal.
and it's kind of a classic, instant classic there.
You
I
think?
really like it. Yeah.
Interesting. I have Toronto at number 2. I really love those Toronto jersey because you can feel the St. Louis Blues vibe, but it still feels fresh. It feels like it's theirs. I have very little notes on the jersey. Actually, my only note is that on the white jersey, you can notice that the shoulders are light blue and the stripes on the sleeves are primarily light blue, whereas on the waist, it's navy blue. I don't like when you reverse things like this. I prefer when it's cohesive top to bottom. It would be my only note. I think the yellow on the blue jersey pops off so well. The two shades of blue complement each other just right. Sarah Nurse looks amazing in those jerseys. And, for a Montrealer, it's not easy to say that something coming out of Toronto is good. So, yeah, no, I really, really love the Toronto jersey. And we are both right. Montreal is
Agree to
number one.
disagree.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
honestly, so I posted a ranking on my TikTok account, and very few people didn't agree that Montreal is number one. When I first saw them, I was like, is it like, am I too much of a homer? But to me, it's especially the cream one, is one of the best jerseys in hockey. Those colors are absolutely amazing. When they released the logo, there was absolutely no trace of sky blue, but it was mentioned that there would be sky blue in the color scheme, to which I was like, oh, how are they going to do that? Just a little touch of sky blue is perfect. The flower and the numbers, to me, like that those details and numbers were made for Montreal. I prefer the cream one. The burgundy one, I'm not as big a fan of. I would have added a navy stripe around the logo, just as like it is on the cream jersey. It's my only note, because other than that, Marie-Philippe Poulain, that cream jersey is absolutely gorgeous. Best jersey in the league. One of the good jerseys in hockey right now, I think.
Yeah, I think like we are embracing tradition here. The burgundy, the maroon color for me it's chef's kiss. And as you said, the little light blue stripe is very just singular and it just makes the outfit pop out a little bit more. On another note, and Bauer, hear me out on this one. We need to do something about the collar, like
Really?
around the neck. We need two colors. I don't know why the Minnesota Frost had the luxury, or like they blended the two colors in front of the
From the
neck
yoke?
collar. Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I would have appreciated that on every single jersey. I don't know why it's not the same for every jersey, but for me, it would have been for the Montreal, maybe the burgundy one. It would have been a little stripe around the neck of the navy blue. I would have appreciated that, or even the creamy color. But
Interesting.
I really like the Montreal Victoire jersey. Yeah.
Oh, me too. Me too. I think, as I said, one of the best jerseys in hockey right now. Kevin, I'm curious, did you have a chance to watch the jerseys? And if so, which one is your favorite, my man?
Yeah, well, it's hard to argue that Montreal is probably the best looking one. I like the Minnesota Frost one. Yes, you're right.
Really?
Yeah, I like the color scheme. I like purple.
I love the color scheme.
I think
those two shades of purple are
Yeah.
amazing. I'm just so off by the black equipment with it.
Yeah, for sure, but that's easy to change. The season has started.
But
yet.
they're not changing it. So change it.
Oh, yeah.
If they change it, you know what? If Minnesota went from black gear to purple gear, that might push him all the way to, at the very least, number 3.
So-
maybe number 2.
Yeah, so I do like Minnesota, and you both like Toronto. I think Toronto's the worst of the league.
Really?
I don't like the yellow. I'm a bit on the side of Daphne here. I'm not a yellow person. I don't think I own one piece of clothing or anything that is yellow. So no, yellow is not my color, and it's not my favorite one for Toronto. But yeah, Montreal looks really classic. The Frost is like new wave, and I kind of like Boston, but I'm like, okay, how much money of royalty are you going to send to Hartford for the designs of your shirts?
Yeah, but I like that though. I think it's a nice tribute without 100% ripping it off. Although it's
you
pretty
turned
close.
the logo like this, it's like all right, yeah, it's the Whalers.
Yeah,
They
yeah, I
better
can understand why.
And if they start playing the brass bonanza at games, well, you got it's a little too much.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Thanks, Kev. Maybe we're gonna represent the Minnesota Frost. I think I'm gonna buy one.
Wow.
Just for the
Okay, Minnesota
streetwear
represent
style.
here. Okay, Minnesota represent. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on the YouTube channel and slide in our DMs to let us know what you think of those beautiful PWHL jersey. Now, we have a few takes around the leagues. We're going to go coast to coast, and we're going to talk about some of the hottest topic in the NHL.
Max, it's me. I'm gonna ask you some little questions here.
Was that the Taylor Swift reference? Hi, it's me.
Hi, it's
I'm the
me.
problem
I'm
now.
the
It's
problem.
me. I know my Taylor Swift.
Oh, and I love it. This is why we're
yeah.
friends.
I'm a
All
Swiftie.
their,
I'm
yeah.
not a Swiftie, but I do enjoy a bit of. My favorite Taylor Swift song is Blank Space. There, parenthesis closed.
I think me too.
Oh wow! All
No,
right.
but it's just when you. Anyway, we're not gonna go down roll a Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's
But
a big wormhole.
But you know who's the problem? Hi, he's the problem.
Who?
I think Barry Trotz.
Oh no.
And hear me out on this one. I don't know if you guys heard, but he's been threatening the team of a rebuild. Things aren't good looking for the Preds right now, and he's been out on the radio saying that if things don't go and don't turn around, he's gonna turn things around himself and trying to start the rebuild. Is he playing a dangerous game, Max, out there, saying that?
First of all, I want to start by saying I freaking love Barry Trotz. I love Barry Trotz. I love what the man seems to be outside of hockey. I mean, obviously, I don't know him, but he looks like a very genuine man. And I love the hockey coach. This is a tough start to his executive career. Barry's summer. He extended Yusei Saros, 8-year, 7.74 AAV. I also love Yusei Saros, but I did think that they were going to go with Yaroslav Askarov just because of the value of the goalie position right now. You have this young keeper coming in. You could have tried to ensure a change of the guard. Now Yusei Saros, they did sign him to a pretty good contract, though. They were going to move on to Askarov. But you know what? They clearly made move to win now. They signed Steven Stamkos, 4-year, 8 AAV. Jonathan Marchessault, 5 years, 5.5. Brady Shea, 7 years, $7 million per year. Barry, man, so early in the season, you can't come up with that. So you said it. You went on the radio, and you cannot come up with such a statement so early in the season, especially. You know what? Resetting with big-time veterans can be done if they're homegrown. Think of the LA Kings. The LA Kings, after winning their second Stanley Cups in 3 years, missed the playoff 5 years out of 7. But you know what? The Drew Doughty, the NJ Kopitar, the Dustin Brown, they were LA Kings. They were brought into the draft. They were raised in the organization. Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, they didn't sign for a reset. They signed to make the playoffs. They signed to try and win one last Stanley Cup because, yes, they're both Stanley Cup champions. And this early in this season, you know what? Maybe it fuels the vets, but I feel like it's a bit, not dishonest, but it's a bit unfair to the guys you just signed.
Yeah, that was my take. Like, how do you think the players are going to react when they hear this? I don't feel like they're going to feel like they're having their leader's support at all. At all.
That's not why I would have signed. Not at the first sign of... when push comes to shove, I would have expected such an experienced man to be behind his players, not so easily go, hey, you know what? If you're not switching things up, man, we're bringing in kids. I think it's a dangerous game. Yeah.
And we were all impressed, by the bold moves that he made this offseason. You mentioned them, and we all thought it was going to solve the problem, their scoring problems. is he had made some choice, and does he have to look in the mirror to say, hey, maybe I didn't get the right players to feel what needed to be felt to, like starting to get off of or struggling, which is scoring.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the road Barry Trotz took on this one. I hope he rights the ship.
And I hope he looks himself in the mirror. Could like, maybe is the problem maybe that they don't have enough good centermen? Because you can have the best swinger in the world, but if you don't have playmakers, to feed them and to get the puck around, was maybe the problem that the Preds needed to look at there, and is maybe Barry Trotz need to look at some other guy to bring in and just like have maybe to go after a good centerman.
I think bringing so many big pieces in one of season was going to bring a tough start. Not as tough as it is, but no, I think you just need to hang in there and ride the ship. And this is why I'm so surprised by it.
Okay. But let's say Barry, as a singer from Quebec, has said in one of her magic and phenomenal song, is beware of the fire, it's hot, it's dangerous. So beware of what you're saying on radio, Barry. If we look at what the Jets have done, Max, they just continue to roll and roll and roll. They became the second team in NHL history to earn 13 wins through their first 14 games. But was the game against the Avalanche a little bit different for you in your mind? Like, what stood up in that shutout win?
It was different, and I'm going to go against the current because you're reading the news out of Winnipeg this morning, and it was a tough win for the Jets and a non-impressive one. I'm going to say the total opposite. I think it was their most impressive win of the season. Why? Well, scoring only one goal against Colorado this season is impressive in the negative fashion, but scoring only one goal and winning against Colorado is absolutely amazing, and this is what I think makes the Winnipeg Jets so dangerous. It's that they have Connor Hellebuck. When they have such a bad game, they can still pull off the win. And yes, it's something that has not worked in the playoffs, and Connor Hellebuck this year is a defining year for him. He will have to step up, but he is completely amazing to start the season. He is off to another Vizina caliber start to the season. And because they can take a bit of a night off, they were dominated by Colorado and still pull out a 1-0 win. I was really impressed with another new Winnipeg Jets victory. I was going to say New York Jets for a second.
He's definitely looking like he wants to put his name back on the Vizina trophy this year.
Do it, my man. I believe in
you. Do you feel like they've changed some things? Like they've lost against the Avalanche in the playoffs last year. What, in your opinion, is something that changed from last year's perspective to maybe the win against Colorado yesterday? Do you see any big difference that are telling you that they made progress or some adjustments?
No, I just think Hellebuck was on his game. He was so bad in the series. To me, it really came down to this. And that's why I find it impressive that in their worst game of the season against a Colorado Avalanche that is looking for itself right now, but the Colorado Avalanche have still been a high-scoring machine so far this year, and they shut them out. They win 1-0, nothing impressive. Poof, poof, we're out. That was beautiful.
Something beautiful is the comeback of Connor McDavid. Is it a good thing, or do you feel like it's maybe in kind of a rush because the Oilers maybe needs him to be back?
I'm going to be really quick on this. I just hope that Connor McDavid is at 100%. He probably isn't. Nobody is in an NHL season, you're going to tell me. I would have been curious to see if they had not lost to the New Jersey Devil, if he is really back that quick. If not, well, maybe the guy is just Wolverine. Honestly, maybe the guy is just Wolverine, and that's good on him. But I don't like that he is back so quickly. I think that in the long run, the Edmonton Oilers would benefit from Connor McDavid resting a little bit more. But I was proven wrong because I was of the same opinion last year when he came back too quickly, and look what happened. So you know what? Maybe this one is going to hit me in the face soon.
And maybe he's going to hit the Edmonton Oilers in the face also. Well, we've been talking about the goalie issue in Ottawa. We've been wondering, is Ottawa a goalie graveyard? Is it true or is it a myth? We don't really know, because since Craig Anderson, it's been a hell of a passing way for the goalie to go to the Ottawa Senators. But are you starting to feel a little bit concerned about Linus Ullmark in Ottawa, or do we have a real reason to be concerned at this point?
Not yet for me. Maybe I am too stubborn because I believe in Linus Ullmark in Ottawa, but he is not playing poorly. He's not playing as high to his own standard, but he is not playing poorly. He is playing much better, and Anton Forsberg too. Let's give it to him than what the Ottawa Senators have had for goaltending last year for the past few seasons. But considering a new environment, a new team, lesser defense in front of him, and the injury to start the season, which maybe threw him off his rhythm a bit, I am not yet concerned for Linus Ullmark. With that being said, I was really high on him. So maybe it's just me being stubborn. Let me know in the comment if you are starting to worry about Linus Ullmark. I think it's too early.
Yeah, I think with the years of, the goalie misfortune there, I think it had left some marks and people are just fearing the worst. You got to give the guy a rest for a second there. I feel like giving his high price tag, though, the fans get their hopes high on this one. But yeah, for me, he just needs to find his swag back a little bit. And also, is it possible that the goaltending is not the biggest issue? I mean, maybe you'll have to look at the defense of this team.
It's not anymore. It was last year, though. Last year, it was the issue. I feel like they fixed it. I still feel like they fixed it. Maybe not as much as they would have liked to start the year, but to me, it's a problem that has been fixed.
Another problem that maybe needs to be fixed is in Philadelphia. Matvei Michkov was healthy scratch out of the lineup yesterday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I don't know for you, but I feel like Trotz really want to send a message to a kid that was welcomed in Philadelphia as a hero. Do you feel that he's been a little bit treated wrong by Trotz, or Trotz had, his reasons to let Michkov out of the lineup yesterday?
We knew it was going to happen, and Michkov has been a bit worse lately. My only problem is I don't know how long left Trotz has in Philadelphia. So if I was 100% convinced that Trotz is there this year, next year, and maybe the next one after, I would have absolutely no problem with it. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just curious to see if the message will be heard, considering the fact that I am not sure if he is really still well on his feet in Philly or if he is eventually on his way out. That will be interesting to see. But I do think that Matvei Michkov, I knew he was going to miss a few games this year. We saw it coming. I don't have a problem with it. I think he waited at the right time. And for that, I think it was the moment.
Do you feel like it's going to be repeated, or it was just one night and lessons learned?
Well, that is in the hands of the kid. I don't think it will be repeated often. I'm expecting maybe at least once or twice again this year. Yeah.
Yeah. And he needs to learn, as every rookie, he just needs to learn how to play nightly consistently. If we're looking at what he was blaming for, it was, his play with the puck, but when the puck's away from him, Trotz has been critical of him about it a few times, and it's just about the process. So he has to learn the process. But if Trotz is going, does it mean that we're not trusting the Tortorella process anymore?
Oh, I think it has run its course. I think it has run its course personally. Like it was going to run its course at some point. So
If
I
I
think you need a new voice.
if I could add one thing, according to the odds maker at Mise au Jeu, right now John Tortorella is the second most likeliest coach to
Yes.
lose his job this year with a 5.00 odd. So yeah, people think that Tortorella is not going to stay for long.
And I agree with that odd.
Yeah, especially with the surprising season that they had last year. It feels like it's kind of going backwards. I just wanted to bring that up. Not too many opinion on this one, Max, but it was so nice in my eyes to see this and just like bringing back the joy of playing hockey. And when we talked about Fleury, how we love Marc-André Fleury and how he was perceived around the league. Some of his, ex-teammates were saying, but he really bring the joy of playing hockey. And this time around, we feel like hockey players have become maybe more of machines. But we need to bring back the fun of playing hockey. And I'm talking about the Florida Panthers showing that having fun can pay off. I don't know if you saw that, Max, but they got like personalized bathrobes for the 2 games in Finland last week. It was a nod to the Finland's sauna culture. And just Barkov sent a message to a group chat and was saying like, okay, we need to wear our robes to work. So they showed up for the 2 games wearing their robes instead of suits. And they both win both contests. So they've made the streak last because, in hockey, we're not messing with streaks. So they showed up at the arena Thursday wearing their robes again. And they're going to keep doing it until the luck runs out. But it was just, for me, just so fun to see those guys. They've won a Stanley Cup. They want to win it again. I'm sure of that. But they're just like, they're not too in their heads. I feel like the Oilers maybe should benefit from that, like having a little less pressure on their shoulders and just like bringing back the fun of playing hockey. And I don't know, it was just fun to see how you can still be very performant in this league and having fun at the same time.
Less suit, more bathrobe. I endorse this message.
Thank you. We're going to have the Monday, the Hall of Fame ceremony. And there's a lot of discussion around who's a Hall of Famer and who's not. And it's been it depends on, what the criteria are. I'm curious to know about your criteria, Max, but to see if some players are in your head Hall of Famers or not. And we're with, there has been debate on this one for quite a while. Is Claude Giroux for you a Hall of Famer or not?
Oh, I have a very high standard for Hall of Fame. I think it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good. To me, it's very important. And I think like this year, there are players I would not have elected to the Hall of Fame personally. Claude Giroux to me is the 2 goalies. Tom Barrasso and Mike Vernon, to me, I'm sorry, like, no. Even, I love Shea Weber. First ballot? I don't know. Like, I don't know. But
I was kind of surprised too.
Shea Weber, you know what, at the same time is a reminder that it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. I have a lot of respect for Shea Weber. Claude Giroux, to me, is like that on the bubble guy. Like, he's never really won any individual award, but at the same time, he was like right there with Sidney Crosby and Patrick Kane as one of the best scorers in the league for like a 5-year stretch. To me, Claude Giroux is in the long run a Hall of Famer. Not a first ballot, maybe not even a second, but in the long run, I think the man has deserved it. I think he has been good long enough. I think his peak was just good enough, even though he didn't reach the summits that he could have reached. I think at least an Art Ross trophy or something could have helped his candidacy, but I do think he is a fringe Hall of Famer and that he will get in the long run.
I feel like some kind of people that were debating that were saying, like, despite his longevity, like what has he done? Like something is there something exceptional about his career? For me, I would say so, because he was also the face of the Flyers franchise for so long, and he had a stand there. So for me, he would go on, but I can understand why the people will argue like that. Did he had such an exceptional career that he needs to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame? It's debatable. I like the other one, and I don't know. Like I'm curious about your points there. But for Brad Marchand, is he a Hall of Famer or not?
Oh, Andrew told me yesterday, future Hall of Famer Brad Marchand, and I said, I'm sorry, like that convinced. What is he? It's the Hall of Fame, and look, I'm a Montreal guy, so obviously I'm going to look biased, but Brad Marchand became a very good player later on in his career. I think maybe in 15 years from now, on a bad class, he's in. But like, he's a Stanley Cup champion. Okay, that is a team honor. Like, to me, a very good player, but never an elite player. Well, you could say he had a few, at least 1 year elite. To me, he's even more fringe than Claude Giroux. I would not personally have him on my ballot. I think he gets in at some point. Yes.
Because of what he represents for the Boston Bruins?
I think there is a lot of politics in the Hall of Fame. And I think he's a good Canadian boy.
I like that. Bring the politics in. And Nicklas Backstrom. Nicklas Backstrom.
You see, that's the opposite. He's on my ballot. I don't think he gets in.
Yeah. Because
too
of the
underrated.
year that
No, he's too under. Yeah, that is an interesting point. The years where there were the least goals in hockey scored per game. But to me, he's one of the most underrated players of his generation. He would be on my ballot. I don't think he gets in, unfortunately. I don't know. He just doesn't have enough individual hardware to his name.
Yeah, because when you look at his stats, you're like, he should definitely be there. But the trouble is, like, it doesn't have, in hockey, there's no, like, statistical threshold that equates that you're getting in the Hall of Fame.
And how do you compare
underrated.
to your peers is important. So how does he compare to Sidney Crosby, Claude Giroux, Andrei Kopitar, Patrice Bergeron, Yevgeny Malkin, Ryan Getzlaf, Jonathan Toews? I think I just named, like, I hope I didn't forget anybody so quickly, but like the best centerman of his generation. He's starting to get low on the list.
Yeah. Like Hall of Famer is another shot out there.
It's the ultimate honor to me.
Yeah. Like, he's a point producer, but he's not the flashiest player, and definitely not at the same spot for me as every player that you just named. I think we're going to agree on this one, but will Carey Price be inducted in his first year of eligibility next year?
If not, I riot.
For me, there is no debate in this one. No debate.
The little doubt that I had.
Individual hardware. He doesn't have a cup, but who does? Like Luongo was a Hall of Famer goalie.
Luongo and Lundqvist don't have a cup.
Absolutely, for me. And he was just like this. He changed the way that goalie operates. Like he changed the way that goalies stand in front of their net. He was an inspiration and a model for so many young goalies that ended up in the NHL. For me, it's a no-brainer.
The little doubt that I had have been squashed by Shea Weber's first ballot nomination. So, to me, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, too. I would like to bring that back, but he is a World Junior champion, the World Junior MVP. He is an Olympic gold medalist. I think that, it's funny because here in Montreal, there is a certain part of the media that ironically thinks he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Some will even say he's not an Hall of Famer. And I feel like he is more respected around the league than he is here. I can be completely wrong on this, but this is the way I feel.
Give the man the respect he deserves.
Thank you.
Thanks, Max. And we're going to go to our first first edition of the Not Even Sorry.
And we are very excited today for this 10th episode to celebrate with our very first guest on Hyperdrive Hockey. This is a new segment called I'm Not Even Sorry, because us Canadian, well, apparently we're sorry for everything. So why not play into the stereotype? It will be a debate. It will be a debate between three persons, and we are more than happy to welcome from Game Over Vancouver, Kaja Antic. Kaja, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's very early out here in Vancouver, but happy to be here.
And we appreciate your time. Andrew Berkshire, Game Over Montreal. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I have been up for many hours already out here on the East Coast with children, so I'm not tired. I'm ready to go.
That is amazing. This is the beauty of the Game Over Network. We're bringing people from all across the country. So here's how we will go. In this segment, our three debaters, Daph, Andrew, and Kaja, are invited to either throw under the bus or uplift. And then we will get in a debate. Each of them comes in with an opening statement. And we will start with Kaja. And Kaja, today, are you throwing under the bus or are you uplifting?
I'm sticking true to my hater self. I'm throwing under the bus.
Amazing.
I cannot understand specifically in the Vancouver market, the hype towards the black skate design or just the skate design in general. I don't understand it. I know that the black skate, like apparently black jerseys make you seem meaner in the league. I don't understand it. But the black skate specifically has no representation of Vancouver overall. It's just very generic. And also it's just a millennial nostalgia fest. So I feel like we could just move on from that, because I feel like the only people driving this conversation are the millennial and Gen X. And as a Gen Z, stop it.
Well, you know what? Before I just want to say, for those people watching in video format, I completely agree with what she said. Us millennial love that jersey. I just put on my Elias Peterson version on. With that being said, Andrew, what do you think of Kaja's statement?
I actually completely agree with Kaja, but also am with you, Max. I kind of also don't care. It is 100% nostalgia driven. I'm with you 100%. And maybe I'm going to date myself here. We're already dating ourselves being millennials with Kaja on here. But if you remember America's Next Top Model, that old show with Tyra Banks, and I remember I got into that with my wife when I was like really, really young. And there was that line that was always coming back about ugly pretty. The Vancouver Canucks skate jersey is ugly pretty. It's colors that don't actually look that good. They don't seem to make sense together. The design is really weird, and yet I unapologetically love it. I think maybe you just take those colors and make the Orca jersey with it. That's maybe what needs to happen. I don't know.
Okay,
but I love the colors.
But the colors also don't represent Vancouver, because the blue, like, that makes sense. It's Vancouver. It's right next to the ocean. Like, that's the whole vibe. I did not know mountains were red. Like, what is going on here?
Personally, I feel like this is the best logo ever. Maybe because I'm not from Vancouver, but it's and we were talking about jerseys in the streetwear perspective. For me, it's all in for a streetwear perspective, but I also love it on the ice. And maybe it's because I'm a emo millennial. Maybe it's because of that. But don't you love it? For real, I disagree with Kaja. I think it's beautiful. And maybe it's because I'm not Rue from Vancouver.
I have a confession to make. So the logo in itself, which Kaja called generic, which I gotta agree. I gotta agree with it. As a kid, I thought that was a planet. I thought that was Uranus or something.
I had no idea it was a skate till I was an adult.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was a puck at first when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Just because the circle shape, and it has nothing to do with Vancouver. It has nothing to do with the Canucks. And yet I like it. Maybe it's just the fact that, Pavel Bure came up around the time when I was young, and that jersey, I was on a lot of highlight packs. It is kind of a unique color combination because it has those like weird like red and yellow tones with the black.
Yeah.
I'm also with Kyle. I don't really like black jerseys in general.
Oh.
I find they're just way too common and really stale. There's a few that I like the Boston Bruins black jersey, fantastic, but it's because of the yellow that makes it pop. Too much black on a jersey, especially on broadcast, I find it really makes it look muted. But I still like it. I don't know why. I can't even tell you why.
I'd be fine to keep it as like a third jersey, like on occasion you throw it in, but the fact that they keep wearing it for home games, it also from an aesthetics perspective, because the Canucks, yeah, sure, there's a whole to do about the arena seats being red. Like I really apparently they're changing those. I really could not care less. They're comfortable no matter what. Um, the all the around ice stuff, like the boards colors, I forgot what the exact name for it is. They're all blue. The ice, the logo is the orca. The orca, people have a gripe with it because it represents the former owner's like corporation, and it's like, oh, it's so corporate, blah blah blah. But like orcas are actually here, dude. Like it makes sense locally.
I have a confession to make. I was coming into this segment completely ready to disagree with Kaya. I do agree that a lot of jerseys are purely nostalgia filled. And to me, a great example is the Buffalo Sabres. I have so many people in my entourage saying, just bring the goat head back full time. I love the goat head. I have it too. I'm kind of a collectioner, so I have a lot of them. But I love the goat head. To me, Dominic Hasek era's Sabres is the best era of the Sabres. But that to me is just nostalgia filled. Keep it as a third with the royal jersey. But you know what? You're making very valid point, and mostly I love what you have to say about how you feel as someone from Vancouver, as somebody who loves sports branding. I know for some people it's futile. It's one of my passion. I love branding that are rooted in the place where the team plays. And you know what? I've been an advocate to bring this back full time. I think I'm starting to agree with you, Kaya.
Thank you. Because there's like a whole campaign of like, bring back the skate, bring back the skate. And I'm like, guys, what? Like, Elias Patterson's not going to turn into Pavel Bure just like that, okay? Like, you need to chill. Like, that's not going to fix us. That's not going to fix everything. I really, like, I understand wanting to go back to like what you knew, but at the same time, what does like this is like 10 beer league jerseys. This
It
is
is.
what it looks like.
It is.
I've seen so many beer league jerseys that are exactly
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, it is. That's because they
Keep
look
the
good.
orca.
Joke aside, very, very impressive statement to start. Let us know in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. If you're from the Vancouver area, let us know. Do we bring back the skate or do we keep the orcas? Andrew, it's your turn now. Do you throw under the bus or are you in an uplifting mood today, my man?
I'm trying to be as uplifting as I can, Max, after watching the Canadiens so far this year. They need some uplifting, so I'm going to be positive. I'm going to say it's a very long season. We're not very deep into it, and Lane Hutson is going to win the Calder Trophy this year.
Oh, my God.
I think that folks are kind of underestimating his impact so far because the Canadiens have been such a mess, but you watch the way that the entire scope of the game shifts when he gets onto the ice. He's got 7 points in 14 games so far. Very, very unlucky from a shooting perspective. And at that same time, that's while the Canadiens are playing some of the worst hockey that I've ever seen. They are a complete and total mess. And most shifts when Lane Hutson's on the ice, it's not him who's been an issue, offensively or defensively. He's the one who's holding everything together and being relied on by the coaching staff until everyone else messes up, even the veterans. So the composure that he has so far early this season, when the players start playing to the potential that we expect from them, which will happen. I think this is short term, what's going on right now. We're going to see some good hockey still out of Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Doc, etc. Patrick Laine will come back at some point this season. The power play seems to be significantly improved based on the last couple of seasons. I think long term, over the course of this season, Hutson has dropped himself into the right position at the right time, on the right team, a team that really wants to get going, and he's going to be a key part of the second half of this season, and it's going to be all Hutson all the time on all the highlight packs. I'm telling you, he's going to get it.
Well, that's an interesting take. Daph, how do you react to this?
Cannot disagree on this one, Andrew. It's tough to not agree with it, but and I will say I don't know if the Montreal Canadiens are relevant enough to for him to win the Calder Trophy, but for me, it's also the confidence that he has in his game. Like it's really impressive to see a rookie, as you said, like changing the game and just doing what he does on the ice. He's really impressive, but I don't know if people are going to look at our market because the Montreal Canadiens are having a tough season.
Well, that's interesting. Kaja, what do you think out there, out west? What have you seen from Lane Hudson so far?
Okay, I will say, as somebody who is far removed from the Montreal market by thousands of kilometers, I have not seen a lot from Lane Hudson. I'll admit that. Aside from Habs fans on my timelines, like I, that's the thing is, I feel like the Lane Hudson hype right now for the Calder. I hate to bring it back to the West Coast, but is that just because Macklin Celebrini is injured right now?
Mm,
Well, that
that
is
is
a
a
very
very
good
good
question.
point.
I think the thing that tips the scales for me in terms of Hudson in particular is less that like he's not going to be as good as Macklin Celebrini because Celebrini is going to be, a generational player most likely. But if you look at the impact that he's having on the game, and especially if you look at some of the really interesting like micro stats, things like how often he has the puck. And I worked at Sportlogic back when they were first launching as a company. I got to be a consultant in how they were building their data and see behind the curtains. And what I'm seeing with Lane Hudson reminds me of something that I saw when I was with that company and able to dig into, unbelievable amounts of analytics was Quinn Hughes. When Quinn Hughes came into the NHL with Vancouver, it wasn't with as much fanfare as, say, Cale Makar. The offensive production wasn't necessarily at the same level, although it was not by any stretch not good. It was incredible. But what I saw with Quinn Hughes was nobody in the NHL had the puck more often than him compared to like the rest of their team. He had the highest slice of the pie of any player in the entire NHL. And it was not just in terms of how often he had the puck, but how many specific plays he was making compared to everyone else in the league. He absorbs the puck and creates what happens on the ice at all times. He has so much control. And a lot of those same markers apply to Hudson. And the crazy thing is, so far, probably because the Canadiens are bad, those same metrics are even stronger for Hudson. So I see the ability to control play from each end of the ice, totality. That's what I'm looking at with Hudson, and I see a budding superstar.
Andrew, I highly appreciate your brain on this. With that being said, I would have one question and one remark. Number one, I love those micro stats. No disrespect, but I don't think Calder voters will take them into consideration. No. Number two, you compare the micro stats to Quinn Hughes. So I'm going to ask you this. Quinn Hughes at 53 points in 68 games as a rookie. Do you think Lane Hudson can have those traditional stats?
Yes, because scoring is actually higher now, and he's going to get the opportunity. Eventually, this team's going to figure it out to the point where they're not unbelievably bad every single night. They'll be somewhat competitive, and they have enough good players at the top end that Hudson's going to be able to find some good situations to get some goals in. I think it's a very similar situation, honestly, to what Quinn Hughes came up with in Vancouver, where there's some good pieces, but the team's a little bit far away. And I think it's a good situation for him.
Interesting.
I will also just say, it took like many years for Quinn Hughes to be taken seriously by a lot of people in the NHL. So I'm not sure if that comparison is good for his Calder chances, because like it took how many years for Quinn to get recognition for the Norris? But that's just
and maybe he's gonna be unfortunately in the shadow of Macklin Celebrini.
Oh yeah, I think if Macklin Celebrini stays healthy, unfortunately, Andrew, I hope you're right. I think he's gonna come up short. So Andrew, uplifted. Do you think Lane Hudson has a chance at the Calder Trophy? Let us know in the comments. Daph, we're gonna conclude today with you. Are you in an uplifting mood like Andrew, or are you throwing under the bus like Kaja out there?
Oh, I'm gonna pick Kaya's mood. I'm gonna throw something under the
no.
bus.
Oh,
For me,
no.
the Nashville Predators are another good example that buying the finest ingredient doesn't guarantee that you'll be able to concoct a dish worthy of a 3 Michelin stars.
3.
3, not 1, not 2, not 3. But we saw that as it was going to be a 3 Michelin stars worthy meal. And we had the same problems with the Flames when we got Kadri, when we got Huberdeau over there. Everybody was impressed. And we were like, oh, they're going to be unbeatable. And look at where the Flames are right now and what they did with the coming of those players. And from now, what we've seen from the Nashville Predators so far, they've been struggling with their scoring last year. They've added those tip-top ingredients in Stamkos and Marchessault. And the cake, it's not uplifting. The recipe is not right. You had the finest ingredients, but are they all side dishes? I don't know. They've been struggling for the scoring last year. They are struggling this year too. And it's easy to say, like Barry Trotz said, if it's not working, I'm going to start a rebuild. But maybe we just didn't pick the right players to bring to solve those problems.
That's interesting. Kaya, the Nashville Predators will be in Vancouver on November 17. That's a bit more than a week away from when we are recording this episode. Is it the type of team right now you're looking at and going like, oh yeah, these are 2 points that we can grab?
Yes, but also I don't trust the Canucks in a lot of capacities. So there's that. I was the person who had like a Nashville in the Western Conference Final this year.
Yeah.
So
As everybody.
having the start to the season just yikes. Like there is a possibility they could turn it around. Maybe they just need like Stamkos's Pee-wee coach and pulling Oilers. Who knows what happens? At the same time, are you really missing Kiefer Sherwood and Kevin Lankinen that bad? Like you have Steven Stamkos. Like I don't understand what's going on over there. I understand Daphne. I understand. Like at the same time, I'm relating it to a completely different sport. I'm relating it to football. Like soccer football. With like Inter Miami, they brought in Messi and then missed the playoffs their first year with him. Like sure, yeah, they won the league or whatever this season, but they also are like in the playoffs and they got beat by Atlanta wild card team like a few days ago. Anyway, MLS is wild. Anyway, yeah, I feel like that also kind of fits. Just because you have all these top tier players does not mean you're going to have the same chemistry between all of them. Like I feel like that could also be playing into the Canucks last year when they brought in Elias Lindholm. It's like, sure, he's a pretty decent player. He's a pretty decent player in Calgary. He didn't really find a fit in the Canucks system, like at all throughout his time here. And I understand he was a rental, so like it changes the scope of that a little bit, but yeah, he didn't really find a place. And I feel like that's the same with a lot of the Nashville lineup right now because they've had so much turnover. They don't have any chemistry. Like, I don't know what they were doing in training camp, but it obviously didn't work.
Yeah,
Interesting.
totally.
It's not great. I'll be mean about it, and I'll say I'm not surprised that Nashville's in this situation. I was more surprised last year that they actually made the playoffs because I looked at their roster and I'm just not seeing what the plan is. It seems like they're just trying to get a few playoff games a year for the veterans left on their roster. Like you look down their lineup, Philippe Forsberg's already 30, Stamkos 34, Jonathan Marchessault 33, Ryan O'Reilly 33, Gustav Nyquist 35, even Colton Sissons is 31. Michael McCarron, this is making me feel ancient, is 29. 29 years old.
Yikes.
And then Roman Yossi's 34, Brady Skay's 30.
Roman
Luke
Yossi's
Schenn's-
ageless though.
He is. He's true.
What a beautiful man.
Sorry, Brady Shea's 30.
Brady Shea is 30. Luke Shen's 35.
Hey.
This is an old team. They're an old team that doesn't have a lot coming up to help those veterans. And I think over the course of the year, they're just going to get exposed for being a little bit slow, not being built together. As Kaja mentioned, they're a bunch of free agents kind of smashed together.
Yeah.
It's not really a team. It's more of a mishmash. And I think I'm more impressed last year that they were able to find something out of it. And whenever you have UC Saros, things can go in your favor. And they have some really good players, but I don't think they've got much special, to be honest.
I mean, I would say the same thing about the Islanders, to be honest. They have like the same kind of vibe, and they're just like hoping their goalie sticks through it. And for the sake of my fantasy team, I hope Sorokin sticks through it too. But I kind of see the same vibe. Nashville, I feel like, is a team in perpetual mediocrity. I say
I'm
that as a
sorry?
Canucks fan. I say that as a Canucks fan. I know. They're like they're like on the cusp of the playoffs every year, but they don't necessarily get very far in them. Like, yeah, sure, they went to the finals like once in the last 10 years. Good for you. We haven't done that. At the same time, did you win? No. At the same time, like, just because they're getting into the playoffs does not mean they're going forward all that often. And yeah, like, I can just think they got swept by Colorado a couple years ago. Yeah, sure, Colorado was really good that year. And they put up a fight against Vancouver. I don't know about this Predators team. And yeah.
They've been struggling about finding an identity, I feel. And look at how the Jets are thriving right now. It's because they have an identity.
Since all of you have not seen the light, I'm just going to be here to bring you into the light and say Daph started by saying that you do not necessarily need all the best ingredient to concoct a not one, not two, 3-star Michelin meal. Well, I'm going to conclude by saying a 3-star Michelin meal ain't made in 30 seconds in the microwave. I still believe in the Nashville Predator. And yes, that is because I am a huge Roman Josi stan and also my man, Jussi Saros, the short king. Are you all with our three debaters who kind of agreed on this last one that the Nashville Predators, it doesn't look good for them to start the year? Again, please let us know in the comment. Kaja Antic from Game Over Vancouver, thank you so much. Whether you or not you're in the Vancouver market, you're Canucks fan, whatever, make sure to follow Game Over Vancouver. Kaja, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Andrew Berkshire, the brain behind the Game Over Network and co-host of Game Over Montreal. Thank you to Andrew. And no, I'm sorry. I'm with you, but Lennartson won't win the Calder. I'm sorry, my man.
You never know. You never know. We'll if Moritz Seider can win it, you never know.
Okay, but also his competition was Trevor Zegras, so it's not like he's beating
Oh my
Gretzky.
God, I'm not here for the Trevor Zegras. I can't believe we're starting the debate again. Follow Game Over Montreal, follow Game Over in your local market, and we'll do this again on the next edition of Not Even Sorry. Before Daph and I leave you, let's slide in the DMs. All right, that was it for our first edition of Not Even Sorry. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought in the comment. Can't believe I agreed to not bring back the skate. I am now pissed at myself. I can't believe this was recorded. Before we let you go this week, Daph, let's go into DMs. We have a few messages that came to us this week. You can leave a comment anywhere on any of our platforms, whether it's Game Over Network on TikTok, Instagram, on, of course, the episode on YouTube. And feel free to slide in any of our DMs, but also send us an email at hyperdrivehockey@gmail.com. The first one is regarding actually PWHL, Daph, which we talked about a bit earlier, but not the jerseys, because earlier this week we talked about expansion. And Sky Fellowship on YouTube said, I'm really hoping the expansion's coming to Colorado. Would be nice to have a team to root for, because out of the 6 starting cities, I can't ever root for Minnesota, Toronto, Boston, New York, Montreal, Ottawa. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, what kind of person has a beef with every single one of those markets? I do think that is kind of hilarious. But yeah, we talked about it. Like traditional market, non-traditional market, bigger market, smaller market. I feel like Colorado obviously originally was not a traditional hockey market. I don't know about you, Daph. Personally, I see it as a good hockey market because I grew up, like I started being hockey country. My souvenir of the Nordic are so little.
Yeah.
Like my very first own souvenir go back to 97, 98, 99. So to me, Colorado is a good market, but it's kind of a good in between. I do think it could be an interesting market for the PWHL.
I do think so. I think, as you said, that the NHL is benefiting of having good teams in Colorado over the years. For me, Seattle will maybe be a better fit
Oh,
as
a newer market.
a newer market, but
Okay,
you
that's
know,
interesting.
it's really kind of, yeah, I feel like it's I don't want to say a more open place, but there's like a only girls sports bar in there. It's just like, I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like the women's sports is well get going in that city. So for me, it would be Seattle before Colorado.
That is very interesting. Very interesting. And that is a very good point. Also, trying to develop strong women's sports market. Our next message is from, I'm sorry, I unfortunately closed my tab there again. I have it.
Mike Troy
Exact.
from
Mike Troy.
Markham.
I was going to say Mike Trout. And of course, it's not Mike Trout. That would be cool, though. Hi, Mike Trout. So obviously from Markham, I'm guessing a Toronto Maple Leafs fan because he's asking, do you think Anthony Stolarz can compete for the Vezina? Oh, Toronto, 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 Toronto. Well, if you were here for last week's episode when I did my top 5 power ranking of the goalies with Kev, I had him at number 4. I am skeptical as a first time really having an opportunity as a veteran to take that lead on a good team as a number 1 goalie. I'm skeptical if he can do it. As of right now, he would be in my early watch list. He is not even close to the favorites. He's on my early watch list. I will be pleasantly surprised if Anthony Stolarz manage it. Right now, he's on my watch list, but not that high on it.
Yeah. How far can you go in this season, right?
How many games can you play?
Yeah, it's a long season. And yeah, he's been good, but can you be good for that long?
And the thing is, right now, Daph, the big dogs in net, a lot of them are eating. Connor Hellebuck is eating. Jake Ottinger is eating. Ilya Sorokin is having somewhat of a good bounce back here. Igor Shesterkin started very, very strong too. So the big dogs are eating. It's going to be tough to push them away. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if Anthony Stolarz can. He's in Toronto. It brings a lot of the spotlight on you. So
Yeah.
it can happen. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying that, I am as surprised as anyone to say that it can happen. Thank you, everybody, for joining into this 10th episode of Hyperdrive Hockey. Please let us know what you thought about the new structure of the show. Obviously, we're looking to improve over time. We are very pleased to have welcomed our very first guest. Keep texting us. Well, texting us. I don't think that's the right term that I was looking for. Keep emailing us at hyperdrivehockey@gmail.com. Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. Leave a review. That helps a lot. Talk about us to any of your friends. Follow Game Over Network in your local market. My name is Max Venut, along with Daphne Malbeuf and Kevin Laramie. Thank you so much for joining in, and talk to you on the next episode of Hyperdrive Hockey. Your boy right here is going to go watch Sid and Ovi. Bye, everybody.